His phone rang, and he saw the name. For a second, his thumb moved toward the screen, then stopped, because he told himself something simple. I'll call back. The call kept ringing, filling the quiet room with a sound that felt ordinary at first. Nothing urgent, nothing serious, just another moment that didn't seem important enough to interrupt what he was doing. But his eyes didn't leave the screen. He kept looking at the name, waiting, thinking, deciding, and then he let it ring out. The sound stopped. The room went quiet again, just like before. His name was Daniel, and at that moment, nothing felt unusual to him. He was sitting in his room, distracted, focused on things that seemed more important at the time, things that could easily be paused, but he chose not to, because to him, it was just a call, something that could wait, something he could return later, when he had more time, more patience, more attention to give. The phone lit up again. Same name, second time. This time he picked it up. His thumb hovered over the answer button, closer than before. For a brief moment, it felt like he might actually take the call. Something about it felt slightly different now, but not enough. Not enough to make him press it. He exhaled quietly and let it ring again. It stopped. Then a few seconds later, it rang again. Third time. Now his expression changed. Just a little. A small crease formed on his forehead as he stared at the screen. Because 3 calls in a row, that wasn't normal. A part of him knew he should answer. Right now, not later. But that thought didn't stay long. I'll call back, he said under his breath, placing the phone face down beside him. The ringing stopped again, and this time, it didn't come back. Daniel leaned back slightly, unaware of how final that silence was about to become, because sometimes, it's not the calls you miss that matter most, it's the ones that never come again. The room fell quiet again, but this time the silence didn't feel the same. It lingered a little longer, as if something had been left unfinished. Daniel sat still for a moment, his eyes drifting toward the phone lying face down beside him. He didn't pick it up immediately, but he was thinking about it, about the calls, about the name that had appeared 3 times in a row. Slowly, he reached for the phone and turned it over. The screen lit up again, showing the missed calls at the top. 3 calls, same person, unanswered. He stared at it a little longer this time, his expression shifting slightly. Not panic, not worry, just something small, something he couldn't fully explain yet. It wasn't unusual for them to call. It wasn't something new, and yet, this felt different. He tapped on the contact, opening the screen, his thumb hovering over the call button. For a moment, it looked like he would press it, but he didn't. Instead, he leaned back again, letting out a slow breath as he tried to convince himself of something simple. It's probably nothing, he thought. I'll call back in a minute. That thought gave him just enough comfort to delay it again. He locked the phone and placed it beside him once more. Minutes passed, then more. The room stayed quiet, unchanged, but the feeling in the air slowly shifted. Something about those missed calls refused to leave his mind. He picked up the phone again, this time a little faster, opening the call log once more. The same 3 missed calls stared back at him. Still there, still unanswered. Waiting. His grip tightened slightly as his thumb moved closer to the call button again, because now, it didn't feel like something that could wait anymore. Daniel didn't press the call button. Not yet. His thumb hovered over the screen, close enough to act, but still waiting, because something inside him had shifted, a feeling he couldn't ignore anymore. His mind drifted back, not by choice, but because there was nowhere else for it to go. The last time they had spoken properly, not a quick call, not a short message, a real conversation. It hadn't been a fight. That was the strange part. There were no raised voices, no harsh words, nothing that clearly marked it as something serious. silence, just distance, slow, quiet, almost unnoticeable at first. He remembered how normal everything had felt that day, the way the conversation started, the way it moved. Nothing felt broken, nothing felt urgent, and maybe that was why he didn't pay attention, because nothing seemed wrong, not on the surface. But now looking back, he could see it clearly. The pauses, the slight hesitation in their voice, the way they had tried to say something more, but never fully said it, and the way he responded, distracted, rushed, half present. He had been there, but not really listening. Daniel exhaled slowly, his grip on the phone tightening just a little, because now he understood something he hadn't before. That moment hadn't been as small as he thought. It hadn't been just another call. It had been a chance, a moment where something important could have been said or heard, but he let it pass, just like he was doing now. Daniel remained in the same position for a few seconds, his eyes fixed on the screen as if the answer to what he should do next was somehow hidden there. The missed calls hadn't changed, but the way he was looking at them had completely shifted. What had felt ordinary just minutes ago now carried a quiet urgency he couldn't ignore anymore. He leaned forward slightly, resting his elbows on his knees, holding the phone more firmly than before. His thoughts began to connect in a way they hadn't earlier, linking this moment to the one he had just remembered. The pattern felt uncomfortable, but clear enough to understand. First, he hadn't really listened when it mattered, and now he had ignored the call. That realization stayed with him, refusing to fade. It wasn't loud or dramatic, but it was strong enough to shift something inside him, because suddenly, this didn't feel small anymore. It didn't feel like something that could be delayed without consequence. He looked down at the screen again, noticing there was no message left behind, no explanation, no attempt after the third call. Just 3 missed calls, one after another, followed by complete silence. That silence felt different now, as if it carried something unspoken within it. His breathing slowed as a new thought formed, clearer than the excuses he had been relying on before. What if it wasn't nothing? What if this wasn't just another call that could be returned later? What if this time, it actually mattered? That question didn't disappear. It stayed there, steady and uncomfortable, forcing him to face something he had been avoiding. Daniel tightened his grip on the phone slightly, his thumb moving closer to the call button again. This time, it wasn't hesitation holding him back. It was the realization settling in, because now, he knew something clearly. He should have acted already. Daniel stared at the phone for a few seconds after pressing the call button. The ringing had started, filling the room with a sound that now felt completely different from before. Earlier, it had been something he ignored without a second thought. Now, it felt heavier, like each ring was pulling him deeper into something he could no longer step away from. He held his breath slightly, waiting, but there was no answer, just ringing, and silence in between. His grip tightened slowly as the seconds passed, each one feeling longer than the last. The room around him stayed still, but his thoughts didn't. They kept moving, faster now, filling in gaps he had ignored earlier. What if this was the moment he had already missed? What if those 3 calls weren't random? What if something had already happened, and he just didn't know it yet? The thought made his chest feel tighter, but he didn't stop the call. He couldn't. Not now. The ringing continued. No pikup. Just distance. Just silence on the other side. Daniel lowered his eyes slightly, the phone still pressed to his ear. In that moment, the absence of a voice felt louder than any conversation could have been, because now it wasn't just about a missed call anymore. It was about what came after the call stopped, and that uncertainty began to settle in slowly, replacing everything else he had been thinking just minutes before. He waited a little longer, hoping for even a small response, even a short sound, anything that would break the silence. But nothing came, only ringing, and then nothing at all. all. The call ended automatically. Daniel stayed still for a moment, the phone still in his hand, but now it felt different. He wasn't just waiting anymore. He was realizing something he hadn't prepared himself for. That sometimes, a call doesn't just go unanswered. It leads somewhere else entirely. Daniel slowly lowered the phone from his ear, staring at the screen as it returned to the call log. The name was still there, sitting at the top, unchanged, as if nothing had happened. But everything felt different now. He tried calling again immediately, this time faster, more urgent. The ringing started again, but just like before, there was no answer, no pick-up, no response at all. A quiet tension settled inside him, something he couldn't fully explain but could clearly feel. It wasn't panic yet, not exactly. It was closer to realization. Slow, uncomfortable, and unavoidable. He opened his messages, fingers moving quickly now, typing a short text. "Call me back." He sent it, then waited. Nothing. No typing indicator. No reply. No sign of activity. Just silence. Daniel stood up slowly, walking toward the window without fully thinking about it. Outside, everything looked normal. People moving, lights shifting, life continuing as if nothing had changed. But inside him, something had already changed, because now he understood something he hadn't allowed himself to think before. This wasn't just about a missed call. It wasn't just about timing or delay. It was about the possibility that some moments don't wait to be noticed. They move on without you. He looked back at his phone one more time, the screen still showing the unanswered attempts. And for the first time, he didn't feel like calling again, because sometimes, the silence after a call says more than the call itself ever did.